Our adventure began with Hurek, Bertram, and Loudmouth stopping in a serene village on their way to the human capital. Hurek, driven by unwavering faith, he seeks the legendary First Blade, stolen from his deity. Bertram, employed as their knowledgeable guide, is navigating the group through unfamiliar territory. And Loudmouth, wrestling with amnesia and having lost his tongue, he yearns for both treatment and the retrieval of his lost memories. Their path forward required passage across the river, leading them to strike a deal with Linnea, the town's apothecary. Little did they know, her request for mushrooms masked a sinister scheme, orchestrated by Calloway, a cunning ex-mercenary. Despite falling into Calloway's trap, our heroes prevailed, unraveling his connection to Hurek's quest. Their victory not only saves Linnea's mother, but also earns them her allegiance. With newfound resolve, they secure passage across the river, setting the stage for their continued journey, fraught with peril and purpose. One constant of a small town, small village is that news, no matter if it's bad or good in this case, will travel quickly. That morning, Hurek was jostled out of bed by quite a loud clamor coming outside of the apothecary store. He groggily grabbed his mace and he bounded out the door, expecting the worst. Maybe Calloway came back to finish the job. But he was greeted by this entire village of about 200 or so people had gathered outside the apothecary store. They had heard the brave tale, 3 adventurers coming seemingly out of nowhere and saving Linnea's mother from the clutches of a evil ex-mercenary. And as soon as the crowd saw Hurek, they cheered and they ran up to him and they started throwing him up in the air, hip hip hooray style, which led to Hurek yelling, rightfully so I think, which brought Bertram and Loudmouth out. Bertram got the same treatment. I don't think Loudmouth did on account of him being a large muscular man. But needless to say, their backs were quite well padded after this very large-scale interaction. The group of people started handing them small gifts, trinkets. There was maybe a baker, a butcher in the midst, and gave them, between all of those gifts, enough food that, based on conservative estimates, probably about 7 days of food supplies. Hurek was probably trying to refuse the gifts, and I doubt Bertram would let him, because these are very much needed items right now. Because our heroes aren't very wealthy. They don't have very much gold between them, so they can't be looking gifts in the mouth, so to speak. Before things got too intense, Linnea came out, and in a very kind way, she shooed all the villagers off. I'm so sorry. Just while the 3 of you slept yesterday, I went to the tavern and I told everyone what you'd done. I was just so excited and thankful to got my mother back. They mean well, though, and the food at least should last you a few days into your journey. She then took a look at each of them, maybe lingering a bit longer on Loudmouth. I suppose that means the 3 of you will be leaving today, then. That's correct. We lost a lot of time dealing with that Calloway nonsense. We need to make it up as quick as possible. She nodded, kind of solemnly. She was a bit conflicted. She was happy to help these 3, but also a little sad to see them go so soon. Right. I'll go tell my cousin he'll ready the boat for you. You 3 get ready to go, and we'll walk you out to the dock. It took very little time for the 3 of them to get ready. They were each excited to go for their own reason. Hurek obviously wanted to make headway into getting the First Blade back. Bertram was tired of this podunk little village, and he wanted to go somewhere exciting. A lot of opportunities to make money and have fun in a big capital city. And Loudmouth, he is without memory, so everything is new. interesting, so he wanted to go out and see more things, and obviously get his memory back, but he was more focused in the here and now. Before too long, Linnea returned and escorted the three of them towards the dock area, with quite a few number of villagers behind them to see them out. If Bertram had been speaking his mind, he would have commented on the dock being little more than a bunch of hobbled together pieces of warped and ugly wood. It was humble, but it would serve their purpose. Linnea's cousin, looking rather tired and annoyed to be up so early, was already sitting in the boat, also looking rather hobbled together and made of warped wood. But beggars cannot be choosers. As the three started loading up into the boat, Linnea stopped them one final time. If you ever come by again, you three are always welcome. I will never be able to repay what you did, so please, don't be a stranger. The three of them said their farewells with varying degrees of enthusiasm and ability to communicate, and they set on their way in the boat to finally cross this god-forsaken river. The boat ride was a short one, shorter than Bertram thought it seemed to be worth all the trouble they went through to get it, but short and sweet it was. They finally got to the other side of the river. They waved goodbye to Linnea's cousin, who seemed grateful to finally be over all of this. Hurek took note of Bertram taking a small compass out of his pack, but strangely no map. So, where's the map? Where do we start? Bertram looked at the dwarf and gave a wry smile. Well, technically, there isn't a map. Hurek's brow furrowed, and he said, "Every day I know you, Bertram, I feel like I overpaid for your services. More and more. Please, let me explain. There isn't a map because, while this is a quick way to get to the human capital, it is so seldom used that no one's made a reliable map of it yet. So, along with journeying there, we are going to make our own map and possibly sell it for quite a profit, depending on how well it comes out." As Hurek said very many silent prayers towards the Forge Father to give him strength to deal with this halfling, Bertram rummaged around in his pack and pulled out some blank parchment paper. So what this means to us, to you listening, to me playing, and being the DM for myself, is that we are going to generate the terrain as we go. Kind of like Hexploring, but I'm not keeping a hard and fast map. We're just heading in one direction, and we're going to be generating what we find as we go through it. If you follow me on X/Twitter, you know that I've been doing the Hexplore 24 challenge, and I've been having quite a bit of fun with it. So I figure I'll take that fun part about this and bring it into my actual play and see what you guys think of it. But without further ado, Bertram, he points to the direction they need to go, and he says, with as much confidence as he can muster, "Onward!" For this, I will be using a resource called the Wilderness Hexplorer Revised. It is basically a series of rules and procedures for generating terrain for hex crawling campaigns. It comes with many tables to roll on. If you've watched the channel, you know I am a big fan of tables to roll on. So this will determine what type of terrain it is, if there are any features, if there are any monsters. So you'll hear me consulting off-screen rulebook quite a bit for this. All right, first roll of today's episode. We're about 10 minutes in. We're finally doing that. So this roll is going to determine what type of terrain we're going to encounter first. So let's bring up dice. Rolling a d20. That is a 16. The midday sun was greatly obscured by the trees of the forest, creating a patchwork of shadows that our heroes walked in and out of. That first roll gave us a forest hex. So for the next two parts of this procedure, we will be seeing if there is a feature. So a feature could be anything from a dungeon to maybe a temple, maybe just a lot of different things that a feature could qualify for. So if we want a feature, we have to get a 1 on a d8 roll. So we'll bring that up and see what we get. A 2. Not quite. And then for the final part of this procedure, we're going to roll for a monster encounter. So depending on what hex type you're in, what terrain type you're in, that'll affect the odds of a monster encounter happening. For a forest, if we roll a 1 or a 2 on a d12, then we will have a monster encounter. So we'll bring that up and see what we get. So it is kind of rolled off screen, but you can see that it says 10. So we did not encounter a monster in this bit of terrain. So yes, our heroes take a rather calm, quiet, reflective walk in the woods. Now for this episode, I will run through the procedures a few more for each bit of terrain we go through. If you do not want me to, just let me know. I'll see what the general consensus is in the comment section. If you guys want me to do that, I will. If you just want me to move on to the next terrain as well, I'll do that instead. So yes. With that, they will continue their journey on with renewed vigor, enjoying this beautiful landscape. All right, so let's get terrain generating. We will bring up our dice. We will roll a d20. We have rolled a 12, and that means our heroes have left the forest. It is cleared out of the way, and there is nothing but open plains for as long as the eye can see. Next, we will roll for a feature. So this will be a 1 on the d8. Another 2, so we are missing a feature by 1 yet again. And last, but certainly not least, we are going to roll to see if there is a monster encounter. So the plains has the same chances, a 1 or a 2 on a d12, and there will be a random monster encounter. We will bring that up, and we will throw the d12. That is a 12, so no monsters. Our heroes take in this beautiful scenery. They enjoy another moment of calm. I think they each feel that these moments in time are too few to really savor. It always seems like us in life rush from one thing to the other, hardly take time to just enjoy the view and enjoy life. So they are going to do this right now. As the sun starts to hang very low in the sky, I think that our heroes have enough for one more leg of this journey for the day. So we will do this procedure one more time and see what we get. So we'll bring that up and we will throw it. And we get a 6, which means plains again. So this is a rather large plains biome for the Minecraft kings in my chat. But now we're going to see if there's a feature. 2. That is the third 2 in a row. That is... So I guess the dice gods really want us to know there might be something here, but not really. But then we'll bring up the monster encounter roll. So 1 or a 2 on the dice. Let's see what we get. That is a 7. I thought it was a 1 for a second. I was about to be really excited, but nope. No monsters. So I think this first leg of our journey has been very peaceful. As the sun starts to set and our group start to look for a place to make camp, Bertram's gonna notice a glow off in the distance. Very warm, very welcoming glow. And I think that he, despite his nature, starts to go towards it. And the other two start following after him, and they see the glow as well. They weren't expecting to see anything akin to civilization out here, but as they kind of move through the thicket and pass what little brush there is, they come upon a tavern of all places in the middle of nowhere, with what we know as a large elf tree growing out of it. Those who are joining us for the first time this episode, we know that all of the elves and half-elves in this world, for some reason or another, a few hundred years ago, all turned to trees. No matter where they were standing, they just up and turned into a tree. This inn apparently happened to be in a spot where that happened to one such unlucky elf. Well, if nothing else, we can maybe talk ourselves into room and board tonight. Bertram said as the three made their way into this strange but welcoming tavern. We're going to end it off there today. I'd like to apologize for just not being here lately. I've been dealing with some life stuff in January and February, and I've finally kind of found that renewed vigor to come and start making videos again. So thank you to all of you that have been encouraging me, whether on Twitter or on here. We have, as of now, reached 632 subscribers. That's awesome. We talked about doing a 500 subscriber special, and I still fully intend on doing that. We had a poll, and you guys voted overwhelmingly to do a one-shot over playing a video game. So I'm going to be doing a one-shot of a system that I've already picked out. You guys voted on the genre, and you chose the system too to go along with that. So we are doing a supernatural/mystery game, and that'll be coming up hopefully soon. But if you enjoy my content, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe and all of that. Follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And as always, may all your adventures, whether shared or solo, be epic.